right, welcome into the studios today. East Lawrence baseball head coach Tyler Green. Tyler, you're no stranger to the camera, man. We had some good
No,
times
sir.
talking about baseball last year, and
Yes,
it was
sir.
an exciting year for you. And man, you come along this year, you had a year or two to really work with the kids and let them learn your philosophy of baseball, and
Yes,
no
sir.
doubt work hard. And then, lo and behold, we had a lot of rain to start out with, and then we had a pandemic break out. But we wanted to have you in today to really talk about those seniors. I believe you had 4 seniors this
Yes,
year?
sir. We have 4 seniors this year.
Yeah, let's talk about them now.
The first one I'll talk about is Seth Farmer. He was the newest addition to the East Lawrence family. He just moved down here this year, and he was a senior, so it was tough for him. I remember seeing him in the hallway the first day he come in, and I was like, oh, who's this guy? So I went and stopped and talked to him, and he wasn't going to play any sports. He wasn't going to do anything. And then I was like, man, you should come out for football. And he said he didn't play no baseball. He hadn't played baseball since he was 8. So I said, you should come out for football, because he played football at his old school. So he come out and played football. We got a good relationship, and then all of a sudden he was like, hey, I want to try baseball out.
Yeah.
So he come out here and played baseball, and I was surprised by how well he did. So he hadn't played since he was 8. He didn't really do much but like run the bases for us, but that's what he said. He said, I want to do whatever I can do to help. So if running the bases helps, then I'll do that, and he could fly. So he really helped us out there. Wish we could have finished it.
Yeah. All right. And then who else we have?
We got Cody Allen. He's a guy that I've coached for 3 years. He is actually one of my relatives. He's one of my cousins, so that's cool. And it's sad to see him go. But he did really well for us. I know when I first got to East Lawrence, I like to talk a whole lot, and he don't really like to talk at all. And so he would just sit there, and you'd say something to him, he'd just look at you and nod. But he come out of his shell, and you could really see his performance start to increase when he come out of his shell, and he become a leader for our team. You would never think that of him, but it was amazing how he come along and come out of his shell and started talking a lot, and then making sure players was doing what they're supposed to do. So he was a really positive influence for us. We got Hunter Wynn. He's a guy who hadn't played in a while too. He had played for me my first year at East Lawrence, and then he decided not to play as a junior. So then he comes out as a senior, and he come out a little rusty. But he come out there, and you would think, well, I didn't play last year, I wouldn't, taking it too seriously, just want to come out here with the guys. But no, he come up there every day, and he worked hard, and he worked hard every single time we did stuff like let's say a volunteer, let's just do something. When we had like the rain days where we couldn't really practice, so he'd be like, yeah, do stuff on your own, and he would send me stuff of him hitting in the cages and doing all this, and come out there and ask me to come out here on a Saturday and hit with him, and he'd go out there and hit balls after balls off the tee trying to get his swing ready. So he worked really hard for us. And then we got Alex Munns. He's a guy that's actually going to go on and play ball at the next level. He's going to South Georgia. He was really good for us off the mound. Was a first-team All-Region pitcher last year. Should have been able to get that again this year, or something for All-Region, but obviously we couldn't do that because of the situation. So everybody kind of gets the short end of the stick on that one. But he was really good for us this season when he could be, and we really look forward to seeing him continue on his career and do great things.
Yeah, Coach Green, now your work ethic is strong from what we hear in the community, man. You don't mind putting in the work yourself. You got the players out there, the young men that know they have to work hard to be able to grow, to be able to progress. That's the only way you're going to grow the program, right?
Yes, sir, it is. We got plenty of people, and I've had kids text me, even like Munns, who's not a part of us anymore, and text me like, what's some stuff we can do to get better? What can we do? What do we need to throw? What do we need to do we need to be lifting? Do we need to be doing this and that? So it's always good when you instill that work ethic in them, and then they kind of take it upon themselves, because it really don't matter. Like, I can say whatever I want to say, and then if they don't take it to heart, it really doesn't help us out at all. So the kids have to take that mentality and then build upon it. And they worked real hard, and it was real tough to see this season in, because this is probably one of the hardest working East Lawrence teams I've seen in a long time. I mean, I had people going out there and just in their spare time, like during the off season, like during the fall, and going out there, and I'd ride by and see some people hitting in the cage and do stuff like that. So it's really nice is when you see stuff, when you see them working, and I'd watch them run. I'd be out here at football practice, coaching football, and I'd see at least half my baseball team out here running around the campus, you know. So that's real nice when you see that in like October when you got months till your season and you got kids out there working and doing their thing.
Why do you
very
think
early
that
on.
atmosphere is there now? Why do you think it's that culture?
I just feel like you got a good group of kids that come along and they really want to do better for themselves, and can't blame them for that. I mean, they want to make themselves better. They want to make other people better, and they're trying to create a culture to where everybody is like that. Like the younger kids, the little kids running around. Because the good thing about our campus is that everybody's together. So the high school, middle school, primary school, elementary school. So when they see those high school kids running around and doing extra, then it makes them want to do better. So I really think that they just wanted to create a good culture around East Lawrence. So they took it upon themselves to do that for the future.
Yeah. So how long now you been at East?
I've been there for 3 years. Just
And
finished
so
my third.
things were good for you from the time you came in. Once you came in,
Yes, sir.
Coach Robertson, pretty well. Or what was
Robinson was the football coach when I was first started, and then Mulkey was the baseball coach.
Yeah, so Coach Mulkey pretty well turned everything over to you because he saw the fire in you. He knew that you could take things to the next level. You have the passion, and it's obvious you have the passion to get a winning baseball team, to develop young men. You have the ability to do that.
Yes, sir.
And you have the drive. So, we appreciate that in what you're doing out there. Let's talk a little bit about what kind of relationship you had with the difficulties of the year.
I mean, it was very difficult to start off with. I can remember sitting there and whistling Dixie pretty much 3 days a week, hitting in the cages, trying to do a little fielding stuff, a little throwing when you could. And it was difficult, and it got really boring for everybody, including myself. I mean, you want to be out there working, and you want to get out there on the field, and nobody likes it. I've even had kids when it was raining a couple of times be like, oh, let's just go out here. Let's go out on the field. The field's not bad. It's just drizzling a little bit. But you can't really do that because you think about balls, how much expensive they are, and you ruin those balls and do all this. So we had to go back to the cages and do that, and it got very monotonous. But I just told them, I mean, people in life, you got challenges, and God doesn't challenge people unless he thinks that they can meet the challenge. So we got really challenged this year. I thought we stepped up to the challenge. I thought we worked hard every day. We didn't take any downtime. And unfortunately, curveball got thrown, and everybody kind of had to suffer for that one, everybody across the country. So you can't really do anything about it, hate the situation, but I think that our kids learned a lot from the season. Even the seniors who didn't get to have a senior year, I think they learned a lot about adversity from this season and can take that on throughout life and help them be successful in whatever they do.
And Coach, what does it really take from an early age on to be able to play at the next level? I know you got to have some basic talent, but
yeah, it takes a lot of hard work, man. I can remember those days being like 8 years old and going out there and hitting, and even throwing the ball off the roof, throwing a tennis ball off the roof and going up there and catching it and kind of going off sound and letting it bounce and all that kind of stuff. But just whatever you can do, man, to fine-tune your skills. I mean, it could just be going outside and playing tag when you're little. It works on your speed and quickness, just whatever physical activity you can do. And just really you got to build confidence too. So like parents have to be involved also, and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. I know my dad was a big influence for me, and he was always there at my baseball games and doing all that kind of stuff, and it helped me build confidence when I was younger and be able to continue my career on throughout.
yeah, you've talked about your dad before and the vote of confidence that he gives you, somebody you turn to, you go to. What's he told you during all this?
Ain't really much to say during all this, man. He just like, you got to make sure that they're working hard. Just kind of, I know you can't be with the kids, but just kind of make sure that you stay on them and make sure you know you care about them, and let them know that they should be doing baseball stuff when they can. Obviously, you can't go out in public and play on a team and do all that, but just do little stuff here and there, work out a little bit at the house. And it's difficult during this time, but just make sure that they keep their hopes up and make sure that they know that we got more to do. We're not done.
Yeah. So you do have a lot to do. I mean, you got next season coming along. How many juniors do you have, and what about underclassmen?
We got 5 juniors, I believe, and then we got a bunch of younger underclassmen. I remember one day during this year we had a region game and we had 3 freshmen on the infield, and I was like, oh my gosh. So that's always good to see, and then you get a win, so it's like, good younger group for sure. And so that's always good.
Yeah, and as we say, you're invested in it. The community knows that you making the young people put into work, and there's no way you're going to get better if you don't put into work. If you don't outwork the competition, many times they outwork you, and you come up on the short end of the stick. But in life, we do get thrown curveballs. I like your analogy, of course, but that's what we got thrown this year. But with your seniors, you look at that, and even though things were cut short, there's opportunity to recognize them, and we're glad that you be able to come in and recognize those young men. And it makes you feel good to have one go on to the next level, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, I know how much hard work it has to be put in to go to the next level and play ball. I was fortunate enough to get to do that, and it's difficult, man. It's really difficult, especially when you're going into your senior year and you got all these other distractions, and then having to get signed somewhere, and we were taking him everywhere across the state, taking him on visits. Me and him would go, and we finally settled with South Georgia. He liked it. I mean, of course, it's his decision, but he really liked it a whole lot. So he ended up signing with them, and really, really fortunate or glad for him. Just knows that he's got to work hard. We've been making sure he understands that, because you got a lot of kids who probably aren't going to go on to the next level, and they get another year eligibility. So every team across the country is stacked up with players. So that means scholarships getting cut, people getting cut at an alarming rate. And I made sure to tell them all my horror stories from when I was in school, and seeing people how if they've done something, how they can get their scholarship cut or get cut from the team. And we just made sure to instill in him that, hey, you got to continue to work, and you need to be working hard, and continue that on. It doesn't end here. It doesn't end here at all. We want to see him go to a 4-year school, get a degree, and then hopefully go on and play some pro ball. I think he's good enough to do it, and I think he's well enough to meet the challenge. I think he can meet it.
So is that the first player you've taken around to schools?
No, we've had a couple people sign in the past, but yeah.
Just talk about that, though, that process. That's why I asked the question.
Okay.
I mean, what's that process like?
I mean, it's different, I guess. It's kind of intimidating. I remember the first time we took him on a visit, he sat down and he didn't really know what to say and was kind of shy. And Munns is he's kind of outspoken, so like when he can be shy at times, but it's not very common for him to be shy. So it was kind of weird for him to start off with. He just kind of sat there, and I kind of had to do a little talking for him. That's why I made sure I went to talk about his skills and what he can do. And it can be kind of intimidating, because you're sitting there, and coaches are going to try to intimidate you to start off with, because they want to see what kind of man you are and how you act to situations to where it is kind of intimidating. But he did well, and it's like a job interview, kind of. Sure. It's kind of what it is. So they ask about your family and about your situation and how you do, and grades is the main thing. A lot of people think that I just can go to college just because I'm good at baseball, football, soccer, tennis, whatever it is. But the first thing they're going to be worried about is grades and how you are as a person, what your character's like. So they really talk about that first, and then you could be sitting there for 7 hours and not even hear nothing about a baseball. I know that was like that with Joe Roberts at Armstrong State University, where I went to school. Mm-hmm. I mean, we sat there and talked for I don't know how long, toured the campus before we even talked about baseball at all. He really wanted to make sure you knew your character and that you was a good person before baseball, because if you're not, then they have trouble with you, then they got to cut you and they got to find somebody else. So they want to make sure that they're getting what they want to start off with.
Yeah, nobody wants to waste time or money. You know, and it's a business transaction.
Yeah.
Like you say, they're trying to make the wisest choice. But it's exciting that you went to those schools with him, that you were there for him. I mean, I'm sure not all coaches do that. And
Yeah, it's difficult, especially when you got all this stuff going on through the week, and like majority of the times, even like sometimes I'll be at school at 5:30 in the morning, and then having to go all day until about 7:30 sometimes. So it gets a little difficult, and you got a lot of hours, but you got to make sure that your kids understand that you care for them, and if they actually do something like that, like as coaches, we should go out of our way for our kids, because that's ultimately what we got into it for.
sounds like that's why you got kids working in the off season, Coach,
Yeah.
because they see what you're putting into it, what you're doing for young people, what you're doing for the seniors, juniors alike, and they want to play ball. So the future pretty bright.
Yes, sir, man. I think it is pretty bright. We got a good young group, and we got a good junior class who has had a lot of success throughout life, and since they were kids, had a lot of success. So I think next year should be a pretty good year. We're going to a new region next year, which is tough because you get used to this region and how it is. And the region's been the same since I've been at East Lawrence, so it's going to be different, having to learn new coaches and learn new teams and see how they are. And they should be pretty good. It should be a pretty competitive region for sure.
What's the different faces? What's the different schools we'll face?
We got Jeff Davis, Toombs, Vidalia, Swainsboro, and Bacon County, I believe. Yeah, I think that's all of them.
Yeah. You familiar with any of them? You played him? I think you played Jeff Davis now.
We played Jeff Davis a couple of years ago in the playoffs. Didn't go our way. We started out hot against them, and then it kind of got cold. And when it got cold, it got real cold. And then it is what it is. Baseball is a weird sport. Even when you're on top and you're doing well, and it looks like everything's going your way, all of a sudden it can just flip on a switch and go
Bats
against
come alive, or errors start happening.
And then
you can't explain it.
you just can't. It's a weird sport. It's a crazy sport. There isn't another sport like it, for sure.
It's good that you're passionate about it. Let's talk about East Lawrence and the assistant coaches, coaches that you also have in your middle school program.
Gotcha. Well, we got Gene Mulkey. He was the head coach at East Lawrence before I got there, so the kids were very familiar with him and his philosophies. And he's done really well in helping me out and doing stuff. And it's kind of nice to me being so young, getting a head coaching job. I believe I got a head coaching job when I was 23, 24 when I first started. So it's difficult for somebody that young to just be able to understand the ins and outs of what you got to do on a daily basis and what you do throughout the season. So it's nice to have like a mentor there that can kind of tell me, hey, you might want to be thinking about this. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah. So I've kind of learned the ropes now. That first year was tough in learning the ropes, but I think I kind of got it now. So it was real nice having him along with us and being a longtime member of the Falcon family. We had Mitch Edge. He is a cop here in Lawrence County. It's real nice having him on. He's a former Marine too. So obviously he's got a good work ethic too, for sure, and by the book and how you're supposed to do things. So it's real nice having him also. And we had Jacob Floyd. He's a former player of mine. When I coached my first year, fresh out of college, I coached with Brian Brown at West Lawrence, and Floyd was one of my players there, and I've known him since he was a little kid, probably like 8 years old, running around the baseball field when I was in high school. So it's real nice having him on. It's nice having somebody that knows my philosophy, because he was played underneath me. He knows how I like to pitch and how I like to do things, and he actually calls the pitches for us, and it's a real big help for me in doing that, because it was real hard for me to give that up, because pitching's my thing. So it was real hard for me to give it up, but I couldn't have gave it up to a better guy, because he really understands what's supposed to be done, and it doesn't feel like I'm not calling him. It feels like we're just like on the same page all the time.
Yeah, it's great to have that help. You can't do it all by yourself. You got to have. That's the only way you're gonna grow a program, isn't it?
Yeah. I tried to do it by myself my first year for about half the season, and we got into region play, and I was about stressed out beyond all belief, and I was just like, well, here you go. You can try it out. today, and he was kind of nervous about it, but he's done well. He's done well, and it's very nerve-wracking job calling pitches for sure, but he does a great job of it.
So moving forward, we're looking for the opportunity, obviously, to get back out there and start doing some work, start getting back out on the field. And we trust in, in the next few months we'll be back on the diamond. What do you need from the community? What type of support do you need?
Just being there for the kids and making sure that they feel loved and let them know that everybody's going through it, because I mean, people in the community are going through it. Small businesses having to close down, so we're all kind of feeling the brunt of this situation, bad situation. But we just all need to come together. Not only do they need to support us, we need to support them. So when everything opens back up, we need to make sure we support our local businesses and don't go out of town and do this kind of stuff. Make sure that we support each other. And in this county, it's a great county, and we're all in it together.
That's good advice, man. Hey, Tyler, we appreciate what you've done so far at East with baseball and what you do to help in football. You just all around coach, and that's what you need.
24/7.
So, but kids read into that and they see how you're dedicated, and that's what pays off in a program. And we wish you continued success. Hey, I know you say hats off to all your seniors.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Enjoyed having them around. Hate to see them go. Wish we could just do it all over again like the colleges are doing and sending all your seniors back. Wish we could do it, but obviously it's not. It wouldn't be beneficial to them. We want them to go on and be able to succeed in life and get their life started. So it would be unfair to them to have them back, but we sure would like to have them. But definitely hats off to them.
Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Thank
you for joining us right here on TV 35.